Hello everybody, Speedrun, and today I'll be teaching you how to use Hide Edit in Browedit 3. Let's get started. First, you open your Browedit 3, and now I will remove my avatar, therefore you can see everything that's going on. Perfect. Now let's go and make a new map. File, New, and here I will just change to 60 by 60. You can do anyhow you want. I recommend to make numbers rounded and don't put like 65, for example. And okay, I will create with the name height and create. Okay, here's our map. If you don't know, you can attach to anywhere you want. And I will attach right here. We have our map displaying now full screen. And before we actually work on the height, so here is height edit mode, and you can also see that's a shortcut F1. Before we do anything here, I would like to create some texture, therefore we can see better what's going on. So I go here on F2 texture mode, and I will select any texture I want. I have imported the texture here. You can choose anywhere you want and just give a click on the texture, and the texture will be brought to this panel. And in this panel you can see all the textures that you select, and this will be a subject for the next tutorial. However, I need to show you this now. There are many ways to fill the texture. You can choose this to fill the entire map. If you try to do it first, you will see that a glitch comes. So I'll Ctrl Z on that. And what I do, I go to texture stamping here, and I first place a texture. So now Browedit know about the level of the ground here. And I can choose texture selecting fill. And now if I do that same thing, select here, it will create the texture. Now without any glitch. And to end up, you actually need to click one more time the left click in the mouse, and now it's placed to our map. Perfect. I will go now and go to Hide Edit, and we can start learning this amazing tool. Here you have several options. Let's start with the rectangle selection. And in the rectangle selection, you can, for example, select a piece of the ground. And you will see that create these arrows around the selection. You can also go ahead and save your map before doing anything. So File, Save, or Save As. I'll save this. And what it's going to do inside your data folder in your offline emulator, I can show to you. So if I go ahead and open here on the second screen first, give me a second. I go to my folder, which is Ragnarok and client. right here, have the data folder, and it's already been created the files for me right here. So there are a total of 4 files, and I will now continue to the tutorial. And every time you want to save, you can simply click Ctrl S. Now you can see that there are a few arrows pointing up, and you can make them more opacity here. You can also change their scale, and you can also change the thickness, just like that. So now if I use my middle mouse, the wheel, I can press down and move around. I can do the same thing with the right click. And if I use Shift plus right click or Shift plus pressing the wheel button, you can see that I can rotate the camera, and I can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Great. Let's start changing this height here, and I'll do a few training so you can understand what's going on. I selected the piece of texture just like that, and I can pick this arrow, for example, and bring up. Okay, that's what happens. I can Ctrl Z to return, and I can pick, for example, this arrow right here, and we'll lift simply this part. Same right here. And now you can see that there's an option. If you look closely, it's lifting like this. You see that? And if I return the step and lift this now, it's lifting like this. But watch close when I click here. Now it's lifting like that. Okay? It's a bit different the way it lifts. So you can check this setting right here. So if I lift a little bit like this and then change, it also changes a bit the way it lifts. So I'll just lift to the default, and okay, let's start working on this. I'll lift this piece of the ground. You can repeat with me so you understand what's going on. Don't get overwhelmed by these many options right here. We're gonna go through all of them, and you understand that this is really well done. Okay, I have lifted this, and I can select all this and, for example, change to be just one arrow, or the corners, or the here in the center of the edges. So if I choose one arrow only, it's gonna lift like this, and here is gonna do the same thing as before. Okay, I'll just leave all the arrows, and for example, I would like to connect this other selection, the corner, up to this selection. What I can do is hold Ctrl, and I'm pressing Ctrl right now, and I can lift this center arrow from the edge, and you see that creates a little dot right there, which will snap to the place of the height. If I come here and bring even higher, I can select this piece of texture, and now I hold Ctrl. I can snap to that, or I can snap to this by holding Ctrl. which is really cool feature. And now I can, for example, select this and snap like that. And I can select this and snap like that. You see? Okay, now we have a few options here. Let's go through that. Let's start by raising ground. So what happens about raising ground is if I select any piece of texture and I say raise ground, when I lift the ground, it will go up together. Okay. And I believe you can select all these, Control C, select all these, Control V. Okay, so you can also copy this, Control C, and then when you press Control V, it will create this, and you can actually just duplicate the height to another location. Great. So this is raise ground. So I can select here and also bring it up. You see? And build walls. Let's move to that. What happens on build walls is when I lift this, we automatically create walls for me. So I can create the walls here, select another piece of selection here, hold Control, and I can snap and automatically make the walls for me. Very convenient, really, really amazing feature in this Browedit 3. And snap to the ground. So for snap to the ground, I will lift another piece of texture first. And now I'll turn on snap to the ground. So when I try to move it, it will snap here just like that. Got it? So let's try to do this on this one here. So if I select from here to here, and now I have snap to the ground, turn it on. When I move up, it will just create all this for me. Really nice feature as well. Okay, we have covered this section, and now let's go to grow selection. To use grow selection, you can select a piece of texture. I recommend you be on nothing here, and you can bring it up. Or let's do like this. We raise ground. Yeah, just like that. Let's keep this option checked, and then now we have grow selection, right? Let's raise a little bit the ground, grow selection, and raise the ground, and grow selection, and raise the ground. So you can see that I can create mountains or dungeons using this feature. And I can keep growing the selection and bring upper, just like that. Okay, or even lift this part higher. Really cool feature. And now I could grow selection again. And I can say smooth selection. This will move horizontally and vertically. So if I choose this option first to smooth selection horizontal, you can see that we will smooth, but it breaks here. So if I choose the other option, which is vertical, it will do the same. And if I click here, we will smooth both ways. And if you use this option, smooth selection, we'll do the same as you click here and here. Great. Now I can grow selection again. And let me see the next I should show you. I will connect tiles high and low. So I'll go selection, and now I'll choose this option, connect tiles height. You can see that this piece of the ground went up, and if I have chosen the other way around, which is connect tiles low, you can see now that this went down instead of bringing this piece of the ground up. Okay, now I will return a step and shrink selection, which decreases the size. So shrink, or I can select again this, for example, and go here is move selection, flat selection. And now I can see that the ground is back to a very flat shape, and I can hold Control, of course with nothing selected here. Instead of raising ground, I hold Control, and now I can snap back to the ground, and I have fixed that. For example, I didn't want that to be like that, the mountain, and yeah, now you can recover your height doing that. Let me see what else I have here. Set height to 1. Okay, so this option, you can control the height. So for example, if I choose -5, now I'm not completely sure about this, but I think you can choose 10 and it's not changing. So about that, I'm not completely confident on what it is. Okay, let me try again. So 5 and set selection. Okay, so I was doing something wrong here. So now I put -5 and set selection, and you can see that he automatically found this for me. And as well, you can see that all the corners are set to 5, and you can actually control the corners for example, here is 8, and you can have idea where the ground is at. I don't recommend you changing like this, because when you lift, you might be having some of these arrow issues here. You see, some going up, some going down. So do not change like this. And yeah, you can always use this. It's already set with this number, so I can come here and do the same. And you can see that's lifting perfectly to that height. Perfect. This generation, so you can see that if I have a large field, it's adding a random waves to my ground. So I could try to go here and I'm not sure if I can actually erase everything in this. So what I could do is close down, open, and here we can open our heights. Let me see how I name it. I'm not being able to find because I just created the map. But I'll open this Speedrun, for example. And here I could off the objects by coming to this view option and should be able to view or not view the models. You can also press M and also the lights, so I can turn off that for now. So I'm still here in height mode. I could select, for example, this much of texture and add random values to selection. And now it's basically changing the field. Really good to make dungeons and field. And then you can control here, for example, the max value is this, and the minimum value is this. And now I can click here. You can see that generated very nice shapes here. I can go back up and smooth. So smooth selection. And now I have a nice field right here. It can be very useful and very fun. Let me see what else I can do. If I select all of these, for example, and click Add Perlin Noise, it also creates something crazy, like mountains, and you can use that to create your fields, and then you can also go here, smooth selection, smooth, 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 and it looks pretty cool. Then you can build the walls here and be creative about it. Okay, now I'll return a few steps. Just Ctrl Z. Okay. Crop map. Since we are at the end of the tutorial, I can show what that does. And this basically finish my map with AI. It's just a joke. Don't care about it. It's just there for fun. And I'll turn back on my object here. And I'll use this option to crop map so you can see what happens. If I select, for example, this part of the texture or of the height or the ground, whatever you want to call it, and I go here to crop map, so basically the map will have this proportion. And I'll choose here crop map is undo function, so I cannot return on that. But what I can do is close the map and open it again. And now you can see our map has been cropped. And let me check what else do I have here. Last select tool will be, you can select like this on the ground. So let me turn off the model once again. So if you use the last tool, you can just create like a shape. And when you click out, it will create this random shape. And from here, you can bring up or down. So if you see down here, where it gives me the values, if I hold Shift and bring it up, it will actually go 5 by 5. It's not showing me, but I'll try to use this right now first. So yeah, now that it's shaped like a rectangular or a square form and have the sides here, you can see corner 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I hold Shift and bring up, it will go 5 by 5, and this is cool feature. You can easily build walls. For example, you want the wall to be 25 height, and you can use this to make sure all your maps are proportionally made. Now we also have here, so Lasso 2 is all about this kind of selection. Let me try to select a square here and see if I can preview. Yes, I can. But if I don't do a square, it doesn't really show me all the corners. Interesting. Okay, so last two is all good. I can turn off this view option here. Hide dueling. Hide dueling. So brush size. I can use plus and minus icon on the keyboard. Yeah. And I can simply draw. This is a feature we had in the previous Browedit. And also cool to create the mountains or whatever you want to design with this. It's pretty cool. Let me see if this does something else. Yeah, if you hold shift, it will bring down instead. So now I'm not holding shift, so it goes up. If I hold shift and left click, it goes down. So like this, you can make a lake. See that? Pretty cool. You can also change the speed of your brush. So we need to deselect this first. Okay. Yeah, so let's change the speed of the brush. And what happens is it goes really fast like that. Now we have magic wand. And this will probably select everything that has the same texture. Let's give it a try. What happens if I select another texture? Let's find one. I can put Prontera and find any other texture here. Oh, so basically replaced all the texture from me. I just want to change here. Okay. Now I go back to hide edit and let's see if that changed something. Magic wand. And that's it. So he will pick everything that has the same texture in it. And now we can, just erase this, for example. Really cool. Everything else is the same here, down here. Now I have magic wand. Magic wand is gonna pick everything that's in the same height. And we have select all texture. This will select everything that's the same texture, pretty similar to this. And select all height. Now we'll select everything that has the same height. And we have covered everything in height edit. I hope you really like this tutorial. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.